Hello. Have you ever wondered why some people are able to transform their lives with ease, while others struggle to make the changes that they want last, right? Well, what if I told you it is a scientific method? There's a formula that if you learn it and implement it, you too can create and unlock powerful changes in your life. So, welcome back. This is week 3 of our 8-week Unlocking the Power of You, the Steps to Inner Freedom. And I'm so glad you joined us again. Of course, I'm joined tonight by Debbie. And tonight we are diving into something incredibly powerful, the science of transformation. So, imagine that you could understand the exact mechanisms that drive true and lasting transformation. Imagine you could stop guessing and start knowing what actually works. So, today we're going to reveal those secrets to you. So, if you're ready to finally break free from your limiting beliefs and your patterns that have been holding you back, you're in the right place. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is the key to life, is it not, Deb?
I
It's,
think it is. I think it is. That's
it,
why I'm so excited to be here tonight and do
me
this.
too. It's such a powerful question for us to start with because for so many of us, transformation is like a mystery. It's actually, it's this elusive thing because I've been there and I know you've been there, try different ways, different approaches, different methods. And somehow we just escaping that those patterns just I can do it for a while but not for permanent, and we don't always see the results that we want, and it can be incredibly frustrating. Been there, done that. And what's important to understand is that transformation isn't just about making a decision and setting a goal. It's about understanding how change actually works on a psychological, an emotional, and even a biological level. There's a science to the process, and when you understand it, you can start to work with it rather than working against it. And at its core, transformation is about rewiring your brain, shifting your mindset, and aligning your actions with your deepest values and desires. And here's the thing, it's not about willpower. Willpower is short lived. I've heard that willpower is like fleeting 20 minutes a day, believe it or not. And we've all experienced that burst of motivation at the beginning of change. But if the underlying mindset isn't shifted, then the change won't stick. You can only push yourself so far before you fall back into old habits. Does that sound familiar to anyone out there? And how do you shift your mindset? That's the $64,000 question. Well, it starts with awareness, becoming conscious of your beliefs, your thoughts, and your patterns that are driving your behaviors is really important. Most of us are operating on autopilot, following mental scripts that are written a long time ago, often based on fears, insecurities, and expectations of others. Sometimes we don't even know why we do things. And to shift your mindset, you need to challenge those scripts. If it's okay, I'd like to share a little bit of a story. So, for a long time, my biggest holdback has been the fear of failure, not just any fear, but the fear of looking stupid in front of others. That fear could be tied to what we call goop, the good opinion of other people. I was so afraid of how others would perceive me if I failed, if I didn't get the right answer, that it really kept me from fully committing to making changes, actually fully committing to being myself. But when I started to realize something important, there is no universal truth with a capital T, but I have my truth. And that truth is based on my values and what's in my soul. And once I began to understand that, and those fears, the fear of looking stupid, the fear of failure, just became, these were part of my old scripts running in my mind. But once I recognized that I could start to change and address those fears, I also came to a deeper understanding of failure itself. And I realized failure isn't something to avoid, it's actually something we need to do. Failure is good because that's what gets us moving, that's what pushes us to grow. And we have to fail ourselves, I guess, fail our way to success. And if those failures is how we learn the most about ourselves and what we're capable of. So instead of fearing failure, now I embrace it. Still doesn't feel well, but I still embrace it. And so that's why today we're going to explore these deeper principles of transformation and dive into the science behind the change that really happens so you can understand how to apply these principles to your own life. And shifting your mindset isn't about forcing yourself to be different, it's about understanding what drives your behavior and choosing to rewrite this script in a way that serves your highest self. Deb, over to you to talk about the whole idea of neuroplasty in this whole transformation.
All right. Well, awesome, Debbie. You said so many things that I absolutely love there. And this fear of failure and looking bad in front of others or saying, like, I'm going to achieve this amazing goal. And then you don't. And you're just like, oh my gosh, not only you beat yourself up, but you feel like everyone around you is like, see, we told you it wasn't going to work, right? My favorite saying is that the only failure is in the not trying, because that's really the only way we fail is if we are so afraid of failing that we just freeze and we're just like, I'm just going to stay right here. Better to be in the arena trying than on the sidelines not doing anything. So, bravo for overcoming that. And yeah, so one of the key elements in our transformation is exactly what you just said, Debbie. It's this thing called neuroplasticity. And basically, what that means is that your brain is always changing. And I think some people might realize that their brain changes and it grows. But what I don't think they understand is that your brain is able to reorganize itself. And it does that every time we learn some new information. And then, especially if we apply new information. A way to make this kind of understandable to people is your brain learns patterns of operation. I think an example that we can all relate to is driving a car. When we first learn to drive a car and you get in the car, you're just like sitting there like, oh my gosh, I have like, you really don't know what to do. You might know that there's a gas pedal and a brake pedal, right? Um, so like that's the basics, right? Hit the gas, but first you have to turn the key. Then and you have to have your foot on the brake before you turn the key, and it has to be in park. Like there's all these little things, right? And before you go anywhere, you want to make sure your mirrors are set so you can see where you're going, what's behind you, what's the rear view mirror, all these things, right? What if it starts raining? I've done this like several times. You get in somebody else's car, you're like, hey, can I borrow your car? And then it starts raining and you're driving down the road and you're like, I forgot to ask how to turn the wipers on, right? But I know how to drive a car. I know how to turn the wipers on. But in this car, in this vehicle, I don't know how to work all the things. So your brain and your behaviors and the things that you do and the things that keep you stuck are like that. The cool news is you do have neuroplasticity. Your brain can learn new ways of doing things. And that is what we're talking about tonight. The coolest part is that one, the awareness that you talked about, Debbie, like become aware that like there's something not going right. What's my role in it? Like, why does it keep happening this way, or why do I keep getting stuck? Let's take responsibility for our reactions, our actions, our responses. And another important part is a lot of our reactions and responses did start when we were really young, and something happened and we picked a way to respond to an event or a feeling, and we haven't changed a whole lot. It's like, I know we all feel like we're growing up so much, and we are, and we're maturing and we're doing things differently. But sometimes it's especially when we're feeling our most vulnerable and are most afraid of looking stupid or failing, right? And when we're judging ourselves, especially, we really revert back to those old ways of being. That's not my fault. I didn't do that. That's not why, right? And I know I hate to admit it too, but like at 50 some years old, every now and then you're like, that's not my fault. That's not what and then you're like, oh, I guess it kind of is, right? And that's okay. It's building awareness, it's taking responsibility. But the cool thing is, just like driving a car, and it becomes, after a while, second nature. Another thing that I've caught myself doing now that I am an expert driver is, I'll head down the road and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to, like, say I'm going to go to a friend's house, but I'm hopping on the same highway that I do when I go to work. I might forget to get off the exit at my friend's house because I'm just on autopilot. My brain is like, oh, I know where we're going because we're on this road. And I forget to take the exit to my friend's house. And 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm going to work. I'm not going to work. I'm going to my friend's house. That is how your brain works. You get in a pattern of going here, going there, responding this way, responding that way, acting this way, acting that way, whether it's in your health habits, your relationship habits, your career habits, all of this, your money habits, right? They are ingrained in your brain. Your brain senses a situation and says, oh, this is how we respond. And boom, your autopilot takes over. But if you become aware and you start to choose your responses, that's where you start to get the transformation that you're looking for in any area of your life. And I know it sounds so simple, right? But we still struggle to do it. Because I can say as many times as I want, I'm going to get up today and we're going to do a 30-minute workout before I do anything else. And it lasts for a day or two, and then I don't do it anymore. So, or I'm like, it's all right, I'll do it later, but later doesn't come. Like, that's my big thing. So think about it that way. Every thought you have, every emotion you have, your feelings, every action you take has been laid down in your brain on a pathway, and your brain knows how to respond, whether you're aware of it or you're not. So you can choose to create new patterns of thought and feeling and behavior. And that's when you can start to live your life that you truly desire the way that you want. I hope that blew my mind, and it does. And when I started implementing this way of thinking, things started to change really quickly. So, Debbie, please continue this and tell us how, though. How do I make these mindset shifts? Yes.
Well, Deb, I love what you said. And I was like right there thinking about some of the driving the car. I mean, I remember many things. I mean, the autopilot, yeah. I mean, I had so many times I turned left when I should have turned right, just because that's what I'm used to doing. So I could identify that one totally 100% and so much more. Sleeping awake. Yeah, we all
Yeah.
do it. We all do it at some point in our life, right?
Yes.
But a lot of it is about, the really it's about mastering your thoughts and your emotions, right? Because that's what it's about. And one of the most powerful ways that we begin this process of making these changes is to actually shift our mindset, as you had said. And our mindset, this is how we perceive ourselves and the world around us, really plays a huge role in the results we experience in our lives. And it's like the lens through which we view everything shaping not just our thoughts, but our emotions, our actions, and ultimately the reality that we create for ourselves. And if we're feeling stuck, it's often because our mindset is rooted in limiting beliefs. And I think we don't even really realize it. These are the stories that we tell ourselves, the beliefs that we tell ourselves that we're not good enough, that change is hard, change is too hard, not just hard, too hard, or that we don't deserve success. Now, can any of you relate to some of those limiting beliefs? And these beliefs can run so deep, often formed in our childhood through experiences and the opinion of others. There's that good opinion of others again. But here's the thing, those beliefs are not facts. They are not truths. They're just thoughts that we've practiced over and over again until they feel real. And so, what makes a limiting belief so powerful is they become our default lens through which we see the world. And every challenge, every setback, every situation gets filtered to this mindset, reinforcing those limitations that we're trying to break free from. But it's really hard. But when you can start to challenge those limiting beliefs, when you can ask yourself, is this really true? You can open the door for some transformation. You can begin to replace those old disempowering beliefs with new empowering ones. And what happens then is remarkable. You start to see the world differently. And once what felt like it was impossible now can be within reach. And you begin to notice the opportunities that were always there, but what you couldn't see because your mindset was focused on the obstacles. So suddenly, what seemed insurmountable barriers now become a stepping stone to getting what you want. And this is the power of a mindset shift. It's putting on a new pair of glasses, new pair of glasses that allow you to see your true potential, your strengths, and the possibilities that surround you. Not looking at your weaknesses because every weakness is a strength. You just have to flip it around. If you ever go to an interview, a job interview, and they ask you what are your strengths and weaknesses, you can flip them all around from being a weakness to a strength. Anyway, it's not that the world changes overnight. That's the other thing. But your perception of the world is what is going to change. And when your perception changes, so do your actions, your emotions, and ultimately the results that you experience. And this isn't about shifting yourself to think positively, it's about seeing clearly, recognizing that those old scripts no longer serve you, and consciously choosing new beliefs that align with who you truly are and who you are and where you want to go. And that's how you can start to move from a place of resistance to a place of flow. And then we can integrate it into our lives. So, Deb, take it away.
Thank you, Debbie. Love that. Yeah, this isn't going to be, it took a long time for us to get those beliefs and those actions to be automatic. So it's going to take some practice and being aware when we're like, oh, I just did that thing again. And it's okay if you catch yourself. That's the beginning. It's then taking the time to notice it and be like, ooh, okay, wait, I just did that thing again. How can I fix that? Just right now. It's okay to catch yourself, right? And so you want to integrate these mindset shifts into your life. And it's not going to happen overnight. But what can happen is you make small changes and you do them consistently until they are your new default. And you can start like adding on to it and make building on it until you reach your final destination of the behavior that you want. So the same. It covers all areas of life. How many people are like, oh, I just wish in my relationships, whenever something goes wrong, I wish we wouldn't argue so much, right? Like, oh, just stupid little thing turns into this big blow up. And the first thing you can do to change that interaction is to catch yourself in it and just be like, oh, whoops, I'm doing it again. I'm responding with that fear or um, that judgment when it might not even be necessary, but because that's your auto response, you might be setting off this whole event when nothing really happened, right? Like we get impatient. Maybe somebody's late a lot and we're like, oh my gosh, I keep telling them I hate it when they're late and they're always late, right? Give them a little grace or just expect it. Just be like, hey, that's who they are. They're going to be 10 minutes late. But also give them the grace instead of being like, ah, you're always late. Da, da, da. Right? That's the old pattern. It doesn't serve anybody. They feel bad. You feel bad. It just ends miserable. Just let it go. Just let it go. Like find yourself something to do for 10 minutes. But ultimately, that's what it's about. It's making small changes consistently until you get to the place that you want to be. And so, for example, what are some things you can do today? I'm sure you're all wondering, what can I do today so that tomorrow can be better? And one of the best things that all of us can do is start your day with gratitude. So when you wake up, if you happen to be a person that's like, oh my gosh, I can't have to get up and I don't feel like it, and the dog, and I gotta feed the kids, and then oh my gosh, and it's cold this morning, my windows are all frost. Okay, just catch yourself. Just catch yourself and be like, okay, I don't want to have that kind of day. I want to have a good day. So stop real quick and make yourself really pause for a whole minute and like think about what are some things I can be grateful for? Or how can you turn all of those things that you just said into a positive? How can you be grateful for them? Like, thank you that I woke up in this home today. Thank you for my beautiful children that I get to go take care of today. Thank you for the car that has the frosted windows. Thank you for the job that I get to drive to today, right? Think of the things you can't be grateful for. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. It doesn't mean everything's exactly the way you want it to. But when you start your day with gratitude, the rest of your day, knowingly or unknowingly, you are kind of just going to gravitate towards looking for the positive throughout the day. And so when you begin to consciously choose empowering thoughts and empowering ways to look at all the situations that happen during the day, you start laying the new pathways in your brain for how you respond to different situations. So take the small practices, do them occasionally, do them consistently, okay? And that's what leads to the profound transformation that you're looking for. And the best part is they're all in your control. You get to choose. Pick one place, one thing that you would like to see different in your life tomorrow. Think about your response to whatever it is and how your current response to it sets you up for a result you don't want. Whether it's, ooh, the boss just brought a whole box of donuts today that I just said I'm going on a diet. Eh, I'll start tomorrow. Right? You just get in there and grab the biggest donut, like, ooh, I need the cream filled donut. Because believe me, that's not it. You're like, right? But or do you just say, nope. Normally I'd say, yes, I'll take a donut, but today I'm not going to do it. No, thank you. I don't want the donut. I'm going to love myself more than that donut. Empowering thoughts. So choose yourself, choose your responses, rewire your brain. So that's pretty much it. That's how you integrate. And that is the science behind it all. You just have to choose what are you going to program yourself to do. So
If only it were as easy as it sounds. That's all I can say. That donut would be calling me. In my old life, that donut would be calling me, but
I
in my
know it.
new life, it's not
Right?
because I am sugar free, so I don't get laid up with donuts anymore. But in my old life, man, I would have probably ate the whole dozen. Never mind.
Never mind just saying yes to the one.
Never mind just the one. But at any rate, we want to help you to get started because yeah, it sounds really easy. We all know it's not easy. There's a lot of things that happen. And I want to say, Deb, that sometimes we don't even recognize the patterns we're running. And if we're very lucky, we have people around us who will kind of hit us over the head and tell us, what are you doing? And I know you've done that for me a number of times. It's like, you need to let it go. And my kids have done it. I remember one time I had a laptop, and we used to put them in the big laptop bag, and I had my lunch bag and I had my big purse, and my daughter's standing beside me at the bus stop and she goes, you think you might want to just get a backpack? And my initial thought was, why would I get a backpack? And I thought, yeah, I would have never thought of that on my own. So thank goodness sometimes we have people to help us out. But anyway, so we want to help you out. We want to introduce some practical tools and techniques that can help you begin right away. You could start using these today. So these strategies are rooted in the science of transformation, and they're designed to help you rewire your brain and shift your mindset, allowing you to break free from those old patterns and create lasting change. Now, one of the most powerful tools is visualization. And this isn't about daydreaming, it's about a deliberate practice that taps into your brain's natural ability to shape the reality based on the images and scenarios that you're focusing on. So when you vividly imagine something, your desired outcome, your brain starts to treat those visualizations as if they're already happening. And it's called mental rehearsal. And research shows that your brain actually begins to prime itself to recognize opportunities, resources, and pathways that align with those outcomes. Essentially, by consistently visualizing your goals, you are training your brain to create the conditions for those outcomes in your life. So, how you do it, if you have affirmations, you can have a vision board, you can have a vision movie, like a mind movie, however you want to do it. But it's about visualizing and also the feeling that you get when you think about these things. And another key is we've been talking about it all day, mindfulness. So, at its core, mindfulness is about cultivating awareness. It's about being present with your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations in real time. And this awareness is really critical for us to, because so much of our behavior is automatic, it's driven by our unconscious, subconscious habits and reactions that were developed over time. It's like when you're driving, sometimes, have you ever done this? Think about this. This is a good example. You're driving down the street and you're just going, and then they say, oh, I just went through that light. Was it green or was it red? You don't even remember because you're just driving. Yeah, it was green, but you don't even remember because you're just on autopilot. And so when you practice mindfulness, then you create a gap between that stimulus and response. It allows you to consciously choose how you're responding to situations rather than just reacting based on your patterns or your fears. And so imagine being able to catch yourself in the moment when you're about to fall into an old habit and or a negative through thought loop. And I do this all the time. I have some things that are old habits, and I've been able to recognize when I'm getting into old patterns and stop them before I get too far down the rabbit hole. So that's what mindfulness is about. And it gives you the ability to pause, observe, and shift your response. And over time, it helps us to rewire our brain, reduce stress and emotional reactivity, also increases our ability to stay focused and align with our goals. Now, we are going to dive deeper into these techniques in our EMF Foundations program, where we are going to guide you step by step through the process of integrating these practices into your daily life. You'll learn how to make visualizations and mindfulness second nature, so you can consistently show up as the person you want to become. But even starting with just one of these tools will make a significant difference. And when you apply it regularly, these techniques not only shift your mindset, but they all will transform the way you interact with the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sorry.
amazing. Amazing.
Yes. So before we close today, we want to encourage you to take the one step forward. Choose the one area, the one thing that you want to take a look at, and choose a small way to change how you show up there. And if what we've shared today resonates with you and you're ready to start working with the science of the transformation rather than against it, we do invite you to join us in the EMF Foundations program. This program is designed to help you apply the principles in a practical, meaningful way so you can create the change that you've been seeking. And it's not just about learning, it's about doing. And it's about working together to discover what are your limiting beliefs, what are the patterns that you're running. For some of us, it's uncovering where did these deep-seated limiting beliefs and patterns come from, because we might have to do some exploring before we're ready to tear down those walls and rebuild them and build new pathways. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's about becoming the person you know you're meant to be.
And we're here to support you every step of the way. That's what we're here. We know that transformation doesn't happen, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be exciting, and it can be an empowering journey. And the best part is you don't have to do it alone. As a matter of fact, anything that I've done that's stuck, I did not do it alone. I did have a community of like-minded people around me. And if you're all committed to growing together and empowerment, it's so much easier because they can help you. And so here's what we want you to do. Take a moment to reflect on what you've heard from us today. What's the one small step you can take right now to start rewiring your brain and shifting your mindset? Whether it's practicing gratitudes, visualization, or mindfulness, commit to taking that step today.
Yeah. And if you're ready to dive deeper, Debbie and I would love for you to join us on the EMF Foundations program. We are opening enrollment, and we'd love to see you there because together we can unlock the power of transformation in your life. So I hope if it resonates with you, that you'll reach out to us.
And and we want to thank everyone for being here today. And remember, transformation is a process, and every step you take brings you closer to the life you love. We will see you next week as we continue on this journey to unlocking the power of you. And take care, keep moving forward, and don't forget, one small step, one small change every day.
Awesome. Have a great night, everybody. Stay empowered, stay focused, stay true to yourself.
Bye now.
Bye.